And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Two Schmoes Show. I'm Ryan. Uh, I'm American. So fucking patriot. Let's go. We're in 250 celebration. A whole month. Aren't you excited? How you roll?
You know what I'm feeling today?
Tired?
I'm feeling New York. New York is part of America, so that's good enough.
It's amazing, right? How one mayor of New York, kind of the whole side of the country, has literally nothing to fucking do in New York.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. There is something about sports in general that I just find really cool where they're able to bring together people. I've been seeing videos coming out from people just celebrating on the streets of New York, just like on these massive shoulder to shoulder block parties. It's just cool. It's just cool to see people like be in their communities and having a good time.
You know, so I live in an apartment complex with like a lot of immigrants, that or anything like that. And with my job, I often have to. So I was getting my mail last night. It was just like guessing they were Haitian. Like I understood a few of the words, basic like terms. They were going fucking crazy out in a like a park bench. They were like, they were watching the Scotland game. They were going fucking wild. You know what? For that like 5 minutes I was outside getting my mail, I was rooting for Haiti. The power of sports.
Absolutely. I actually ended up just by sheer coincidence, and it was kind of a horrible experience, but I ended up at a bar on Friday night when the US versus Paraguay game like was just starting, and I ended up leaving like right at the time that the game started, so I didn't stay for almost any of it. But it was really bizarre and kind of cool to see so many people going to watch a thing because like going to watch a thing that's not the Olympics because it's the US doing it.
Oh hell yeah. I think I don't I don't think it's a normal thing for us to be this invested in soccer. I think it is a very nice thing for us to actually care about the goddamn world outside the US for a sporting event.
Absolutely.
That being said, the poly markets are
yeah. I do worry. I mentioned this before, but I'm worried that that's why there's so much energy around everything right now because people have money on it. And I hope I'm wrong. But
you don't think, okay. So we were talking about poly market. That of course led us to talking about the UFC event that's happening tonight at the White House. The one that might be biblically doomed based off. Jackie, before the show, we were like listening to everything and started looking up the fighters for that. And what was the big fight that we thought was rather strange?
Yeah, so the only person whose name I even recognized was Alex Pereira.
Pereira, yeah.
And he's going up against someone named Cyril Gain.
Cyril Gain.
Who, I don't know. I feel this is not my wheelhouse, right? So when I say I don't know any of these people, that doesn't say much, but like I am tuned into way too much of things online, and I see tons of stuff come across my phone on like circled square, I think is what it's called, or squared circle, whatever, the UFC Reddit page. Okay. So like I see when big stuff happens. I see when these big moments start to get shared around, and I've not heard of any of these people. I don't know anyone here.
The headliner, Pereira versus Gain. you go on to like Google and you'll find that their stats are not exactly 1-to-1.
Yeah.
Can't help but feel like that was designed in such a way as to entice people to make polymer.
It's really weird, and I know it's not the tell all for it, but it is weird that there are so many of these guys that have such a big age difference between them.
Isn't it?
Like one of these fights is a 41-year-old guy versus a 28-year-old. I just don't
taken out back.
I don't believe people. It just doesn't make sense. It's weird. It's really weird.
No, I agree with you.
But you were telling me something that kind of made sense as to why there's this kind of weirdly eclectic group of people.
Oh yes, they're all being paid in crypto.
Yeah, what do you know? It's almost like the people who want to be paid in money decided that they didn't want to show up. And it sounds like the only reason that Alex Pereira is here is because Cyril Gain has a UFC belt that he's trying to win off him.
I respect that. I fucking respect that a lot, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So, how much do you want to bet, right, that there will be an event tonight? Not, because it's not looking good.
I'd say it's kind of 50-50 right now. It's such a weird decision in general, the way that they've set this up. Because looking at what do they call it, the claw, it like has a roof technically, but it is not meant to be like to prevent weather. It's just so that they have places for all of their lights and sound equipment to go, right? Yeah. Which is just kind of weird on its own too, because most of that shit's not usually waterproof.
Mm-hmm.
So like, what are they even doing with that? But DC right now is set to have, what was it, a 70% chance of thunderstorms tonight that have been described as damaging thunderstorms, bringing a half an inch of rain. So that could just happen and the whole thing doesn't go on at all. But I think it would be much, much funnier for it to stay hot and humid and miserable and full of bugs.
How funny would it be? These like, these very sweaty macho just grappling at each other, because Brazilian jiu-jitsu is very meta. Like,
oh yeah,
grappling at each other on the ground. You see their like fucking skin just start sticking to the goddamn mat. That sounds. I would want just in fucking crypto if that was me.
Mm-hmm. Well, and what's really funny, let me see if it's actually the same before I say this, but I was seeing some financial news. Yeah. I guess they were probably paid in whatever Trump's bullshit token is, not, real money, even real crypto. But even just for, where do they have, no, they don't. Since the start of the year, where is that? Bitcoin has gone down about $24,000.
Ouch. That's rude.
So, like, if they accepted this fight when crypto was like 9,500 at the end of January, it's down to 63. And I know it's not 1-to-1 between Bitcoin and other stuff, but like the whole market does kind of move together. Bitcoin is down, Ethereum's down, everything is kind of down broadly. And the only reason that the Trump token would be down less would be because it is just a gigantic scam to perpetuate the private wealth fund that the Saudis have. Is it the Saudis? I don't actually know if it's the Saudis. Whichever Middle Eastern country it was that backed their bullshit cryptocurrency to give them dividends basically forever.
I think it's been rather interesting talking about crypto for like the first time in months at this point. Ever since Iran, I feel like Donnie's like having crypto rug pull. Not been going. It makes me wonder how much Iran is distracting him from doing his shtick.
Oh, well, you see, it's because Iran has let him just do regular stock market rug pulls.
Oh, you're right. My bad.
Yeah. Bigger fish and all that.
Of course. The crypto market is getting a little dry, if you will.
Mhm. What I would be really curious to know, though, is that we do have this whole thing going on with Iran, right?
Yeah.
And supposedly, there's been all this negotiation that's happening. They're trying to get it to be done, and they haven't, of course, because the Strait of Hormuz is still closed. And there's some really pathetic. I recommend going out and scrolling through Aaron Rupar's uploads from this morning for the Sunday morning news roundup. Hegseth, in particular, went on Meet the Press for some goddamn reason and absolutely embarrassed the shit out of himself because he's an idiot who doesn't know how to talk to people. And it was just embarrassing. But like they're still on the no, we're negotiating this. We don't have to worry about, this isn't like we're doing it through the military, even though we keep bombing them. Well, so they keep talking about like doing these negotiations, and wouldn't you think the Secretary of State would be involved in that? Marco Rubio. Right? Yeah. You'd think, wouldn't you? Wouldn't it be funny if his attention has been too focused on this stupid UFC thing to actually negotiate to end the war in Iran?
That's not funny. Don't you dare put that fucking evil on me.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio this week, quote, definition of American soft diplomatic power, talking about the UFC fight. Using the UFC as a diplomatic tool.
Go on. Please tell me how the UFC is.
I really don't know.
Dana needs more power.
Let me see if I can actually. Did he say anything else in here? I don't think so.
I think so. Rubio's been
no, he didn't. He's been. Isn't it funny that the guy with 4 jobs doesn't talk?
No, it's not. It's actually very disconcerting. Thank you for asking.
I feel like the last time I heard him say anything was when Cuba was more in the news, and he was trying to egg that on.
Yeah.
Did John Oliver do the piece talking about that?
I don't.
Someone did a.
I don't think so.
I don't remember if it was John Oliver or some more news, but one of those types put out a really good video recently talking about like, okay, what the hell is going on with Venezuela and Cuba and Iran, and pointed out how especially stupid it is for the people like Rubio to be so anti-Cuba right now, because they talk all the time about how their family was persecuted and forced out of Cuba and they had to flee to the US, and that's why they're in the US at all, even though their family is from Cuba, while the person who forced them out of Cuba was the American appointed despot, not the communists who came after. So they keep talking about how much they hate the Cuban government when the Cuban government isn't even the ones that persecuted their family. It's very dumb and very obvious when you start to look at what the hell's going on. But they don't care because most people aren't going to look, right?
No, nobody gives a fuck. Like, we Americans are taught at a very young age, right? That Cuba just doesn't matter in the slightest. Because they got communism.
Yeah.
Small island communism. They can't possibly run on their own with a state like that. So it's just a matter of time. Don't bother Brandon Dungeon because it's just a matter of time before shit happens. Fascinating.
It sure is something.
It is kind of like the epitome of that statement. Great times make weak men make bad times, you know.
Mm-hmm.
We're in the weak men period.
Mm-hmm. I was thinking about that the other day and how all of the how was it that I was thinking about it? How all of the people who think that they are the strong men in the weak times are actually the weak men making the bad times.
Oh, it totally is.
Yeah.
It's like that self-report people do where they're like, I'm an honest person while they're trying to lie to you.
Mm-hmm.
What's
When
next?
do you think the Iran war actually ends?
One moment. Second. Do midterms get sworn in? The second Thursday of January. Here.
Mm-hmm. We're going to hit a really fascinating moment here very soon, I think. Um, I seriously doubt that the Iran war ends this Sunday, like Trump was trying to say. There, what was it? Oh, where the hell did it doesn't matter. He spewed some garbage on Truth Social that there was going to be something signed on Sunday. Apparently, there was Pakistani mediators said that it was that they likely expected the deal to be finalized within 24 hours, and we're preparing for electronic signing. Iran Foreign Minister spokesperson Esmail Baghdadi. We will have to wait and see about the exact date of the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding, although it will not be tomorrow, Sunday. It's just so dumb. Like, we've been going through this for 4 months now, and we have this same crap time and again. It just flip flops back and forth and back and forth. So I don't expect this to be the one. But the thing that I saw pointed out this week that I do think could be what finally pushes it over the edge is that the U.S. Strategic Petroleum Reserve is almost about to hit a point lower than what it was at the worst point in Biden's administration during the COVID crisis.
Let's go. No.
The lowest point under Biden was 46,000 barrels. We are currently at 349,000 barrels. The figure that I saw to put it into context was that when the Strategic Petroleum Reserve was officially passed by Congress, we already had more than 349,000 barrels in the reserve because it had been built up for years ahead of that. When it first started, it was at 270,000 barrels. So, like, the drop in this has been absolutely precipitous, and with no sign of it stopping, it's just in free fall right now. That's the only reason the gas prices haven't skyrocketed here, is that you either have to keep draining the reserves or put a moratorium on exporting oil from the U.S. And neither of those are going to be appealing because the U.S. exports a shitload of oil because we make so much. So I feel like they're going to get into a really, really bad spot here very soon just because of that.
I love this country. Love my country.
Isn't it great?
Who knew putting a businessman in front of the country would lead to so many business decisions?
He sure is running it like the average CEO of this time period, isn't he?
You know, I want to know, when did CEOs get to such shit tier?
I think it. So I don't know how accurate this is, but I tend to take a lot of what we see happening in the world and I try to look at it through the lens of, like, what does the actual 1% think is going on, right? Okay. Because when you look at, like, the was it the Gilded Age, the Rockefellers and that kind of stuff, there was broadly still an idea amongst the elite that you had to do things for the communities that you lived adjacent to, that your companies existed in, both as a, self-serving, if people have libraries and means to educate themselves, they're not going to murder me and my family while we sleep kind of way. But also at times from what seems like a genuine feeling of like giving back, of wanting to give back, of having a responsibility to give back to the places that you live in. And sometime around like the 50s and the 60s, that mentality changed.
Okay.
And it was like something broke where these hyper wealthy didn't feel like they had a social obligation, a social responsibility to give back to their communities in meaningful ways, and that they could instead just start hoarding things purely for their own interests. And that change is, for me, when we started to see a lot of these things, right? Reagan gets pointed to a lot, but he is the one that feeds that impetus. No regulations so you can make as much money as you can. No workers' rights so that they can't, fight back and take your money or strike. That kind of stuff. And from that, I think we have the extension of where the CEOs of today are, where they grew up in that environment largely, or were learning the ropes of how to do business in that environment. And they've just gone and accelerated that to a whole new level, where the bottom line is the only line. And they have spent so long stripping themselves of their morals, of, any feelings of obligation that they might have to another person, that the result of that is that you overshoot, right? Mm-hmm. And the things that these systems were, originally built up to prevent, like being murdered in your sleep by disgruntled factory workers, or it being better for your company to exist in a town where people can afford food, those lessons have been forgotten. And they are going to have to learn the hard way why they used to exist. It's the same way how there's a reason that through everything, I doubt Costco closes down. If there's going to be a massive financial crisis of the government ending type, when we're in the apocalypse, I bet there's still going to be Costco because people like it. They treat people well. They care about the people that they work with, for now at least, well, with the current CEO that they have. But there's not just a sense that, these people care about me, but actions to support that idea.
I was telling my brother about Costco because he's never been to a Costco before. He actually just took him to his first Costco yesterday, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he was talking to me, and he's like, the way you make it sound is more than it is a fucking grocery store.
Yeah. It kind of is in ways.
I will say it's not so much community, but it is like a financial. They do add a lot of fucking value to their company.
Absolutely. What is community if not a set of shared ideals? And what is a shared ideal if not a desire to buy good things that don't cost a lot?
I believe that's I'll take what is religion for 500, Alex?
Costco is new religion. I'm writing that down.
You just write down the logo, turn that T into a cross. Costco Church, go hard.
I think so. I could see it. They got the space, right?
They do. Have you heard apparently some Costco's are going to have apartments?
I'm not surprised. Honestly, everything right now is so dumb. And I get that there's technically zoning things that people like to point to and be like, but zoning, we can't do this. But there really is so much space to do those kinds of things. I'm shocked that more places haven't done it yet. I'm sure if you have to live there, it's probably going to kind of suck. But if you just want an apartment for less than $1,000 a month, you don't care. I don't know.
Sorry, I'm looking at all the services that fucking Costco provide. I keep forgetting how fucking wild they are.
It's a ton.
They have life insurance. You want Costco life insurance?
No, but I'm sure somebody does or they wouldn't offer it, right?
They have pet insurance, they've got tires, they've got truck rentals, RV buying. We've got digital wallet services. care over the counter cards, bottled water delivery, home and storage installations, junk removal, cell phone and cell phone plans. How to fuck. Why isn't Amazon doing shit like they tried doing all these promotions? Not nearly as charming.
Yeah. It's because it's Amazon. Nobody trusts them.
Yeah.
Because it's Amazon. Before we get into some of the other stuff today, I do want to mention something that's given me a little bit of hope in these dark times that we live in. Let me see if I can find it real quick. But there was a really good Reddit thread on Ask Reddit that wanted people to talk about their experiences. No, did it really not? Is it popped yet? It was asking people who were visiting the U.S. what they were actually thinking about their experience here.
Okay. You have a lot of tourists right now.
Yes, World Cup tourists. What's your honest feedback on the U.S. so far? And it's just incredibly wholesome, and I kind of love it. Where there's a lot of the like, damn, you guys are loud, and wow, yeah, things really are far away kind of stuff, but also an overwhelming amount of everybody's been really, really friendly. There was one guy who is a person of color, and they were extremely grateful that even though they were a person of color, they weren't being treated like a foreigner, which is cool to see. They're out in California for some of the games. It's just cool. It's good vibes. It's good atmosphere. There's a really great posts that I've been seeing going around. One that I just saw pop up again that was from some people from Scotland that were going to a game, where the hell it is, but they posted on Twitter, the buses have stopped at some park thing near the ground, and there's American guys making food and giving people free beers and stuff. Some Haiti fans here as well. Bunch of good guys. What the fuck is going on? What an experience this is. Holy shit. And somebody described it as Scots discovering tailgating could be a real Prometheus stealing fire moment.
I saw one thing which like Scots discovered chicken fried steak or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, everybody in Scotland, I think, the fact that the US is our spiritual.
Right? There was another really great one I saw of someone talking about some German tourists that they were talking with, who apparently were discovering in order America's, specifically Chicago's, legal weed, being able to do that, and then going to a Raising Cane's.
Oh, yeah.
Which is just, it's beautiful. That's culture right there.
You know, it does give me some hope, because like they said, we are loud fuckers. I'll agree to that. So it does make me happy to know that like they're coming in hateful fuckers that we can see often in the US, or just loud.
Yes, the awful people are by far the loudest. Another great one from a person from Scotland. Best food I've ever had. OMG, vamos chicharron. They're eating Mexican, of course. And somebody replied to it, eating in Mexico as a European has got to be like hearing music for the first time.
That's so.
It's so great. The vibes around it have just been excellent. And I've really, really appreciated that lately.
Fucking heckin' wholesome chungus over here. The World Cup.
Yeah. Crazy, isn't it?
Fortunately.
And isn't that such a fucking shame? You can imagine how much better it would have been, 10 years ago. Even just 4 years ago, right? But it had to happen fucking now.
We're in our flop era, but at least the culture is somewhat preserved.
We're still keeping the vibes up, though.
We gotta. We fucking have to. If the culture fails, then they win. That's like literally how fascism works.
Yes. Absolutely. To round up the kind of shitty stuff, one of the big things that's kind of emerging right now is the screwworm epidemic that is breached into the southern border of the U.S. Texas and Arizona, I want to say there have been cases found in both cows and dogs. Screwworm is really bad. It's a sort of like infectious parasite that kills livestock. And we had it nearly eradicated from North America for like a decade. But thanks to Doge, they killed a screwworm containment program in March. And now we have screwworm in our agriculture. So good job, Doge. Thanks, Elon. I love having ground beef be $10 a pound.
I think you're lying.
No, this is my very serious tone.
Wagging my finger at you right now. You better be truthful there.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah, no.
Right? Yeah. I had one that was going to be kind of unfortunate news, but it seems like it's fine for now. There was a really weird thing going around earlier this week about a Swiss vote that was set to set the population cap at 10 million people, which is kind of a weird thing, right? Like, how do you put a population cap in place? The majority of Switzerland's population increases have been through immigration.
Okay.
So when they say population cap, what they actually mean is stop people from immigrating here and living here.
Understandable.
So thankfully, the move seems like it's going to fail. It's currently on trend for 55% of people to vote against it and only 45% for it. It's a little bit concerning that it's that close, given what the hell it is, but I can appreciate the situation being some, like, I don't know, clever marketing kind of way, right? They've done a good job of hiding the pretty explicit racism that's behind it. It's weird. Like, I hear about Europe having problems, and I get that they do receive a lot of refugees and the like, but like at the same time, you don't fix that problem by leaving the refugees to just die somewhere else. Also worth mentioning, the situation going on in Belfast. It's gotten a little bit wider than that, I believe, but Northern Ireland has been having pretty scary anti-immigration riots happening this last week, including people's homes being burned because the people who live in those homes are just black or brown.
Oh.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Like, vehicles being burned and people, it's really fucking gross. And I hope most people aren't paying attention to the same kinds of places that I are, but I've unfortunately seen far too many American politicians who are complete idiots, trying to suggest that this is some sort of a good thing, that this needs to happen, that this is the Irish taking back their country or whatever, which is really fucking rich because the people who are doing this are loyalists to Britain. They're not trying to do some thing for Ireland. They want Ireland to become part of Britain again. So the whole thing is just really fucking dumb, really fucking gross, and I don't have a whole lot to say past that other than it's a thing that's happening and that sucks.
I'll drink to that.
Mm-hmm. With that, would you like to talk some movies?
Movies?
Yeah.
Is there any more? What movies are there actually?
There's a couple. I've got some. Who is in this? Some smaller ones to run through real quick that popped up with surprisingly high ratings. We can save that one for a little later. Mostly, quite a few surprisingly highly rated movies that have come out this week and last. So let's go through it, right? Carolina Caroline, directed by Adam Raimi, Samara Weaving, Tyler Gallner. Names that I'm like aware of, but don't really know any of these people. Desperate to escape her small West Texas town, Caroline Daniels runs away with a charismatic con man who takes her on a romantic crime spree through the American South. But as confidence games escalate into more elaborate heists, Caroline transforms into a criminal icon and a notorious bank robber, utilizing ultimately internalizing the central truth of every con. There's no lie more convincing than the one you tell yourself.
Yeah.
94% from critics, 83% from audiences on that one.
Okay.
We also have Stop That Train, which I'm assuming is a comedy, but let's see. Has a bunch of people from RuPaul's Drag Race, it looks like. So follows best friends Tess and Dee Dee, train stewardesses who trade their dreary shift on the stank rail for the glitzy Glamazonian Express. It's very obviously a comedy. I've not heard literally anything about this, but it has an 83% from critics. So I'm mostly pointing this out because it's really cool to see comedies being a thing again and doing well. We had like 5 years where you just weren't allowed to make jokes. It feels like, if you were making a major motion picture, unless it was like an Avengers style quip. So I'm happy to see that.
Duck Soup with a friend the other day.
Mm-hmm.
That's like an old comedy, and like
yeah,
it is very much written to be a comedy. I was thinking to myself, like, movies don't have like well thought out bits where the whole scene is just a sketch.
Yeah,
and I think that's because we have the internet. If you want to do sketch comedy, you can just put out a YouTube video.
It's very easy to find, yes.
Yeah, so like, I wonder like if we'll ever see a proper sketch comedy again.
I certainly hope so, but it definitely, I don't know. Trends come and go, right?
Yeah.
Tastes ebb and come back around. So I guarantee we will see one again, but it's going to have to be after like the short form video period kind of either dies or becomes just less profitable. I think that's when we'll see it start to make a comeback.
Fair.
Because right now it's so tightly tied into that short form video content. The same way with like prank garbage, right? And I say prank garbage because it's gotten that kind of a moniker because people are just so tired of seeing it so incessantly.
Yeah.
Next up, The Furious. This is a Chinese action movie that currently has a 79% from critics, or sorry, a 97% from critics and a 95% from audiences. Normally we don't talk about foreign language movies because they're foreign language movies and you can't actually see them, but this one is doing numbers. After the daughter of Wang Wei is kidnapped by a criminal network and he receives no help from the corrupt police, Wei sets out on a rampage to find her herself. His only ally is Navin, a relentless journalist whose wife has also mysteriously disappeared. Fueled by a furious vengeance, the unlikely duo ruthlessly fights against the kidnappers in this explosive martial arts showdown.
Is it just martial arts Taken?
It kind of seems like... I think that's probably the pitch that they did, but looking at the cinematography, it looks more like John Wick, but nobody has a gun.
Whoa.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Next up, Power Ballad. When Rick, a past his prime wedding singer, meets fading boy band star Danny during a gig, the two bond over music and a late night jam session. But when Danny turns one of Rick's songs into the hit that reignites his career, Rick sets out to reclaim the recognition he believes he deserves, even if it means risking everything he cares about. Features Paul Rudd and Nick Jonas as the leads. 87% from critics, 84% from audiences. Mostly pointing this one out because this is a Paul Rudd movie and I've heard nothing about it up until now. And that's kind of weird, if interesting, but mostly just like, huh.
Yeah, I feel that.
We also have Scary Movie.
Thanks.
Nope, it's just called Scary Movie.
Yeah.
26 years after outrunning a suspiciously familiar masked killer, sure, it's the horror parody thing. They're just out of ideas, I guess, and they're doing the same thing again. They're playing off of, I guess, newer horror movies. It's not working. 24% from critics, 67% from audiences.
So what I'm hearing is here's a question I want to ask you.
Mm-hmm.
What is your opinion on the trend of current horror?
What do you mean by that? Because I feel like from my perspective, we've started to get out of the like asylum schlock pure jump scare kind of horror, and we're moving into a space where there's room for more stuff that is like scary because it's making you think and exist in these spaces for more than a jump scare at a time.
That's kind of what I'm pointing at, because like
Yeah.
I feel like we are in a more cerebral horror right now, right? Like, let's go to the back rooms, right?
I was exactly thinking about that. Yes.
It is not a scary idea. You're faced with it immediately. The horror kind of comes from the idea of stewing it.
Yes.
Like, I don't have any interest in that per se, but I understand the concept and I think it's smart. But at the same time, I feel like it's almost like nothing about that kind of resonates. I don't know how to quite describe it. I can acknowledge it's smart. I like the idea of cerebral. I just don't know why I can't.
It's definitely the kind of thing where you need to be in more of a right headspace for it, right? Because it's not just doing adrenaline, it's making you think about themes that might be able to be applied to your own life, right? And that's kind of terrifying sometimes. So I definitely get that aspect of it. The horror movies that force you to have some introspection, right? It's kind of cheesy, but you know, the people are the really scary thing kind of idea. Mm-hmm. So I definitely get it. I wonder if it's in the same way we were talking about sketch comedy. I wonder if the jump scare cheap horror movie has been killed by so many of those being so easy to just pump out relentlessly on streaming services.
Oh yeah, it's a total market oversaturation.
Yeah. So then you have something like Exit 8 or The Backrooms or Weapons come in and it tries to do something different and it lands because it's an original idea and it is making you think about what you're watching other than just the scary thing that happened 5 seconds ago.
I think I like it better than Scout. Five Nights at Freddy's.
Oh, absolutely.
It's one of the worst things that's.
Yep.
I'm not saying that's piss off FNAF fans. But I think Scout Horror is. It kind of ruins mascot horror.
Five Nights at Freddy's, I think, has a bigger problem, not because it's a horror movie, but because it's a video game adaptation.
Yeah.
You can't adapt the video game, so it's just ends up being kind of generic and uninteresting.
I think where I'm coming from, talking about the franchise in general, I know what you mean by having snuff.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and sure from the franchise in general, that's totally fair. But it's just been like, how many games have they made? Like six,
Probably.
at least, probably more than that. And it's been having just slop pumped out on YouTube for the better part of 2 decades now. Like, when did the first game? It's
kind
gotta
of
have
what
been close to that.
killed it for me. It's like, you have a mascot, you can have a fandom. Like, the problem with FNAF is the fandom kind of takes it out of its horror.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's like watching like someone try to get like spooked out by the Game Grumps or some shit.
Right.
Yeah.
Been 12 years of it now.
Boo.
It's just too long. It's lost its novelty. We missed it last week, but Masters of the Universe is a thing. It's apparently fine. 68% from critics, 87% from audiences. I've watched a couple of reviews of it that are kind of just like, eh. As far as these kinds of things go, it is less offensive than they usually are. It has like actual jokes, for example. And not all of them land, but it's at least trying.
How do you make a first movie? Our Lord 26.
Yep. You basically just tell one or two of the big He-Man stories, and that's it. And you include some of the weirder characters as
so
like,
it's a Marvel
look at that
movie.
guy.
It's fucking Superman.
There is an element of the well, what the fuck was that? The Garbage Pail Kids movie to it, where they bring out all these characters that, you know, because we were born after 1980, we don't fucking know any of this.
Yeah.
Like, I know He-Man and I know Skeletor because of the homoeroticism, but past that, sure, dude. If you say there was a show and a whole line of toys, I'll take your word for it. So when they make a movie about it and it's got these really specific characters like Moss Man, it's just like, okay, if you say so.
Moss Man's a
Fisto,
real thing. Holy shit.
Moss Man's a real thing. Fisto is a real thing. They don't have any other characters here on Rotten Tomatoes, but like, there's a ton of these like named characters in the movie that are like legit characters from Masters of the Universe. I think what this movie has tried to do and done better than most of these, though, is that it has those things, but they're not so overwhelming and so forced into being the point of the jokes as to be distracting if you don't know what they are. Like, you can not know who Moss Man is other than the guy who's got moss on him, and you'd be like, oh, okay, I get the joke. Or it's gone so fast that you just don't really care.
I get you.
Yeah. It's also just like a very average action movie. And yeah, there's not a whole lot more than that. Last up for today, Disclosure Day.
Knew this was coming.
80% from critics, 73% from audiences. I'm a little surprised it's that low. I've heard mostly positive stuff about this. I mean, it's a Spielberg, so I guess maybe it's getting a little bit of extra bump just from that. If you found out we weren't alone, if someone proved it to you, would that frighten you? This summer, the truth belongs to 8 billion people. Today is Disclosure Day.
Fancy.
Do you know Patrick H. Willems, the YouTube essayist?
No, I do not.
Okay. He had a video he put out a little while ago talking about the idea of the document movie, where like quintessential document movie is was it All the President's Men? Yeah, All the President's Men. with Robert Redford, Dustin Hoffman, just like classic. These are the Washington Post journalists digging through receipts and newspaper clippings trying to figure out who the hell did Watergate, and then write a story about it that doesn't get the Wall Street Journal sued over publishing it, right? And it's like an hour and a half of them going from source to source, trying to figure this shit out, trying not to get found out too much by the government. And it's kind of slow and plodding and boring, but it's based on a real thing, right? Yeah. He calls those document movies. And it's sort of like a whole genre, right? You can kind of apply that to some of the portions of Indiana Jones and that kind of thing. So when I see Disclosure Day, it makes me wonder if this is like a hypothetical document movie, but like what happens after the document? What if the document that they're building is just so big and so dangerous or so explosive that the thing that comes after that, the reaction to it, is what is just as interesting as getting to that point?
Kind of like picture it. It's a very Spielberg idea.
Yeah. It's Disclosure Day. I want a little bit more of a longer synopsis here. As the world stands posed on the brink of World War III, cybersecurity specialist Daniel Kellner steals a piece of extraterrestrial technology and related files detailing various events of human-alien contact dating back to the Roswell incidents from the Wardex Corporation, a secret arm of the U.S. government. Wardex CEO Noah Scanlon discovers the theft and has Daniel branded as a foreign spy, making him the target of federal authorities. Daniel goes into hiding at a convent with his girlfriend, Jane Blankenship. In Kansas, television meteorologist Margaret Fairchild is preparing for work when a cardinal flies into her home, briefly observes her, and then flies away. The incident awakens latent psychic abilities, allowing Margaret to intuitively understand the thoughts and emotions of others and unconsciously communicate in languages she has never learned. During a live weather broadcast, Margaret unexpectedly begins speaking in an unknown language. Footage of the broadcast goes viral and draws the attention of Wardex, which identifies the language as extraterrestrial in origin. After being hospitalized and nearly getting captured by Scanlon's agents, Margaret also goes into hiding.
Okay.
So, I mean, I feel like there's definitely something here. I really appreciate Spielberg using his vast monies to make these kinds of original ideas still.
Spielberg, for all we know, could have gone and done a Marvel movie. Not to.
Yeah, or just retired.
Yeah.
Dude doesn't need money. Like, this is Steven Spielberg, John Williams, and you know what the crazy thing is? The budget is only $115 million, because it's a relatively simple idea that doesn't need a sweatshop's worth of people to do CGI for it.
Like it.
Mm-hmm. I'm good with it. I'm dare I say, I'm curious to see it.
It is one of those things where it's like, it's a movie that was written to be a movie.
Mm-hmm. Also, Emily Blunt's fantastic, and I like seeing her do work.
Oh yeah, that is Emily Blunt.
Yeah. It's got Coleman Domingo too.
Williams doing fucking score. At this point, I'm convinced they keep him in a very small little fridge, and they only take him out to do Spielberg movies.
I could see it. I mean, God, how old is John Williams?
He was 100.
Yeah, like, even if the dude's got the fire still, the body can only do so much. He's 94. He looks incredible for 94.
Doesn't he, though?
That's remarkable. But, like, still, dude's old. He's only got so much he can do, so I can appreciate him being extremely selective with what he works on. Yeah, Disclosure Day. Kind of mixed reviews so far, but I don't know. It's definitely got my attention.
So apparently John Williams' dad. The Nepo baby. Therefore, I have to hate him.
Understandable. Everyone's got to have their, you know, their morals, and you got to stick to those.
Wait a minute. What? No fucking. You ever heard of a song called Africa?
The like the do.
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
You know who fucking sings that?
No.
John Williams' son.
Really?
Yes, his fucking son. Also, Joseph Williams is the lead singer of fucking Toto.
That's very funny.
I'm stunned. He's also the singing voice of Simba from The Lion King, but I don't give a fucking shit because he was in fucking Toto.
I never would have guessed. Fascinating.
So confused. Do we have anything else?
I do want to point out, because this is very stupid, the Weather Channel posted earlier today, UFC Freedom 250 is facing a chaotic weather setup on the White House South Lawn with a 60% chance of thunderstorms, heavy downpours, and wind gusts up to 34 miles per hour threatening to delay the outdoor fights. On top of the storm risk, brutal DC humidity is driving a triple-digit heat index, I assume it continues. And some Trump fan bullshit replied to it. This event is about celebrating America's unmatched greatness after 250 years, which apparently doesn't sit well with the friendless loser who wrote this bullshit clickbait headline. Rain or shine, we're celebrating our great country no matter what. God bless America. It's so dumb. It's so dumb. How can somebody write that unironically?
I'm just trying to think about like the idea of if they don't get the chance to do it outside, they do it in the Oval Office instead. I kind of would prefer.
I would feel like a really weird Street Fighter special stage.
Wouldn't it? That's exactly where my mind started to go.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you just have like Donnie in the background, sitting at his desk watching the fight.
If you do the right button input, you'll be able to reach back and hit him.
Then Secret Service joins the fight.
And then it turns into a beat 'em up.
Yeah. Well, anything else?
I don't think so. Let me do a quick check of the California election. I don't want to get into that too much. They had their primaries this last week. And because California is fucking massive, it's taking a while for them to count all the ballots. Great, thanks, MSN. That is very helpful. Okay, I don't actually care about the results, but it does seem like they've finished counting. We'll look into that later. We can talk about who some of the candidates are. There's a couple of notable things that happened there, as well as some just really dumb stuff as well. So, yeah.
Infamous.
And I'm Cairo, and I'm also a Schmo.
Rain or shine, whenever friendless loser bullshit comes up, clickbait headlines. This has been Two Schmoes show.
That's why it's going to mess up. They forgot to get the USPS involved.
Oh fuck.